Hey, what's going on, everyone? John Matrix here. Hope you're all having yourselves a wonderful day wherever you're at and whenever you're watching this. I know you guys have been requesting, some more Kaiserreich videos in the comments of some of my, videos that I'm putting out here. So today we're going to be jumping back into some Kaiserreich videos. Not that I haven't been wanting to do Kaiserreich videos. It's been an issue of finding videos to do. There's only really a couple channels that I found that are doing, Kaiserreich lore, documentary videos, for me to react to for you guys. So if you guys have any content creators, any channels, any specific videos you want me to take a look at, feel free to let me know down in the comments and I'll be happy to check it out. Kaisercat Cinema and his series is kind of the mainstay, it seems. So we're waiting on his next video to come out. We've done the 8 videos in his main long form series. JD Media is the only kind of other channel that I've seen that really has any other lore breakdown videos. There's a couple of videos on his channel that I haven't done that I can do. I haven't covered them before just because they're going over stuff we've already gone over from Kaisercat Cinema. But if you guys want me to check them out anyway, I'd be happy to. Let me know so we can go over anything from JD Media's perspective. Maybe there's some extra information in there, some things from a different perspective. So let me know if you want me to check a look at that. But on Kaisercat Cinema's channel here, he's got the World of Kaiserreich series, which I guess is a series of short lore-based videos. He's got several of them to go through. I guess there's almost 30 of them. Most of them are like 5-6 minutes long or less. And some of them are like a series. Some of them are individual ones, like the first 5 episodes he has here on the American Civil War. The divided states, combined syndicates, American Union State, Pacific States, and New England. Those are the first 5 episodes. Like I said, all of those are 6 minutes or less. So we're going to take a look at those 5 today. And then in the future, if it makes sense for me to combine certain videos like Germany and Austria, I'll probably do those together. Anything about Britain, Canada, etc. We could look at doing those together. But some of the factions here are just individual videos that are, not super long ones. But, I'll be happy to cover them until we can get some other long format videos out here. So, like I said, today we're going to cover the first 5 episodes here in this World of Kaiserreich series that's about the U.S. Civil War. So the first one is going to be Divided States, Project Lore video. The second one is Combined Syndicates. Third one is American Union State. Fourth is the Pacific States. And then part 5 is New England. So we'll just mine those all together here in one longer video. So with all that said, long intro, please check out Kaisercat Cinema's channel. Links will be down below in the description as always to his channel and to these. I would put a link to the playlist here. So if you want to just check out all of these videos, feel free to do so. But yeah, links will be down below in the description to his stuff. So please do me a favor, go through these videos. If you like them, be sure to leave a like on these videos for him. And if you enjoy his content, be sure to give the man a sub if you haven't already. So yeah, let's jump into this here. So again, this is going to be what if there's a second American Civil War, the Divided States Project lore video by Kaisercat Cinema. Go.
Not long ago, the United States of America was a nation of vast opportunity and promise. As the world burned in the fires of the Weltkrieg, U.S. citizens enjoyed a decade of peace and prosperity beyond compare. Through subversion, stalling, and filibustering, U.S. intervention in the Great War was effectively paralyzed. By 1919, American citizens would wake up to newsreel pictures of German soldiers marching through Paris. In Europe, the Weltkrieg was over, but in the Americas, our misfortune had only just begun.
Yeah, I honestly, like, with how crazy the world's been, the last 4 or 5 years in our time, I could also only really imagine, like, what life must have been like during, World War I and World War II, where, like, literally all the major countries on the planet were at war with each other, and who knows what could have happened in any kind of different scenarios, and what history in life would be like for us in general, humanity, nowadays, depending on how different things could have gone. So, yeah, I can only imagine what life must have been like. Everyone had some kind of family member, friend, or whatever that had gone on to war, or had been involved in some kind of way, whether it was, an actual, you know, soldier in the war, or doing something at home to help, you know, the war efforts, etc.
By the time the dust had settled, Eastern Europe was marching to the drum of the Kaiserreich, and Western Europe stood dominated by revanchist syndicalist powers. As one of the few remaining democracies, the US was now truly alone. As calamitous poverty gripped the land of liberty, disillusioned young radicals left the home country to fight as volunteers in the many civil wars abroad.
Yeah, because, like, at that time, they still had the Great Depression going on, the collapse of, this is, obviously in the Kaiserreich war, the collapse of Britain, uh, really tanked everything, the stock market in the US, everything. So, like, there was, yeah, that period that they still went through the Great Depression. Only now, because of the rise of syndicalism in Europe, that had a very appealing take to it, and it had a big foothold that took root here in the States.
When they returned to an emaciated United States, they were eager to spark the embers of civil discontent into the all-consuming fire of revolution. With syndicalist uprising following in the wake of cascading economic collapse, a gridlocked Congress saw no other means but to order MacArthur, the American Caesar, to seize control of the
American
apparatus of
Caesar, yeah.
state and restore order to the home country. These would prove to be the final spasms of a doomed nation. By the end of that year, Louisiana Governor Huey Long addressed the American citizenry and, in an infamous radio speech, called the United States a dead nation.
Which is really interesting because, like, in the lore series we went through about him, um, he really almost kind of like ran the state of Louisiana like a dictatorship. But honestly, it really worked. He brought a lot of jobs and security to the people down there, and so that really kind of grew his popularity.
Rallying to his cause, several states rejected Washington's new dictates and formed an American Union state, vowing to root out the corrupt federal government that had brought the country to ruin. This bellicose move was soon followed by syndicalist elements in the North, who seized Chicago and the Great Lakes area as the combined syndicates of America. Fearing fighting would spill over into the West, the Pacific states seceded and marched their regiments eastwards to guard the border and restore democracy to the United States. Almost overnight, one of the world's last remaining republics collapsed into the revolutionary chaos that had claimed Russia, France, and Britain a decade earlier. Brother took up arms against brother, and cities across the nation were turned into blazing war zones. More bitter words were never spoken. Second American Civil War. The shattered federal government is now limited to encircled areas of partisan groups and military divisions loyal to MacArthur and Congress. Beset on all sides, we Federalists are fighting a desperate retreat, attempting to safeguard our supply lines to other loyal states in the Midwest. Hounded day and night through the smoldering ruins of our nation's former glory, our cause seems long lost. But we think back to 1776, to Washington. His army swept from New York and New Jersey by the Redcoats, only to return across the icy Delaware and, against all odds, deliver a glorious victory at Trenton.
I wonder, in a scenario like this, like, all sides would probably look to that, right? All sides would probably have a similar kind of story they would probably tell to kind of unite the people behind them about how Washington and our founding fathers, this is what they fought for, our independence and our freedom, and You know, we have the blood of the revolutionaries in our veins, and this is what we're fighting for, the American dream, etc.
Our fathers fought on, and so shall we.
Yeah.
We will unite against these rebels and return the rule of law to our great nation. We will fight on. So rally to the flag, men. For our homes, our families, and our future, we will fight on. As our fathers did, we proclaim this sacred oath. Down with the traitors! Up with the stars! Down with the traitors! Up with the stars!
All right, well, that was episode 1. Move on to episode 2.
Not long ago, the United States were a nation of vast opportunity and promise.
So this one is the combined syndicates. So I'm assuming this might be, because one of like the overarching things that we kept seeing from the syndicalists was them, you know, really wanting to have a united world under syndicalism. So I wonder if this is going to be like from the syndicalist perspective, you know, what am I trying to say? Like from the European based, I guess, syndicalist perspective about them trying to spread their ideals into America kind of a situation. I wonder if that's what this one is going to be about. So I guess let's check it out here.
Opportunity for the trust fund children of the elites. Promise for the rich to rule as petty barons. Comrades, I have seen a different America. I have seen a United States where the wretched poor live in squalor, slaves in all but name. I have seen boundless gluttony erode the foundations of this once proud nation, slowly corrupted by the ink-black taint of capitalism.
And I mean, this is kind of the message, right, that spread through everywhere in Europe. You know, during this time in Kaiserreich lore, like it was really kind of the people versus the monarchies, and basically overthrowing monarchies and aristocrats and the elite, the rich, etc. And it's about, you know, poor people taking the power kind of a situation. So that seems to be pretty much overall the syndicalist movement. And as I had said, you know, earlier, I'm sure after the Great Depression and seeing how the syndicalists overthrew the French and British governments, it would have great appeal back here.
The iron heart of the market, where there was once compassion, brotherhood, replaced by greed, kindness by suspicion. When we formed the Continental Congress of the Working Class in 1905, we saw the true face of this America. I saw U.S. workers, fathers and sons, murdered in the streets by Rockefeller thugs. The American worker, betrayed, shackled, enslaved.
Yeah, he would be a good target to go after too, because what, like, Rockefeller back then at the turn of the century was the richest person on the planet. I think he had over $1 billion to his name back then. Like, he literally had more money than any country at the time, I think, to him. So he definitely would have been a good target for people to go after.
They believed they...
Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments about him in the money, but I'm pretty sure it was something like that. Like, he was insanely wealthy and had basically power to do whatever he wanted to back then.
They had won the war on the workers of America, but there was a specter haunting the world. And when Chairman Reed returned from the victorious revolutions abroad, we knew our time had come. The declaration of martial law would be the final insult to the underclass of this country. We rose up, and the Chicago sun dawned on an army of 100,000 comrades under arms, flying the scarlet banner of the revolution. Go tell the Caesar, and go tell the Kingfish, the revolution is coming home. Break the chains! Break the chains!
All right, well, that was episode 2, Combined Syndicates. So we're going to move on to part 3, American Union States.
A long time ago, the United States was a nation of vast opportunity and promise. It was a country I loved and held dear. But that was a long...
I wonder if this is going to be from the perspective of one of the leaders, American Union State. It's already kind of sounded like this is someone almost kind of like writing a memoir of like, this is what I remember of my great country and what I feel like I need to do to bring it back to greatness, kind of a thing, you know? Let's see where this goes.
Long time ago. The reason I'm writing you this letter, son, is so you would understand why your pa went and done the things he did.
Went and done what he
Depending on how this war swings, we may come home as heroes or as traitors. I've accepted whatever comes, but if nothing else, I wanted you to hear the story from me. When I was a boy, my family had a little farm down the way from Haynesville. It was such a beautiful place. Me and my brother used to go down by Corny Lake with our dog, Rover. One day we was playing catch when my brother accidentally hit poor Rover with the bat. He was always such a kind and gentle dog. I guess we never could have thought he would snap at my brother like he did. The doctor said the bite shattered the bones of my brother's forearm. His hand ain't never been right since then. When we staggered back home, crying and bleeding, our pa didn't even think twice. He dragged old Rover, lovable Rover, behind the shed and set the record straight with his Winchester.
Yeah.
We couldn't believe it. Pa loved Rover, and he never left his side. Yet when he saw my brother and Rover walk down that pathway, there was no doubt in his eyes. I asked him later, "Pa, why did you shoot Rover? He wasn't no bad dog. It was an accident." What my pa said then stuck with me ever since. When a dog go bad once, he said, there ain't no coming back from that. That dog is now dangerous. He loved old Rover, but he loved his family more. That happened a long time ago. We don't own that farm no more. The banks foreclosed our place during the Depression, sent our pa spiraling off the edge. We found him in his study years later, feet dangling. I guess the hit to his pride was too much for my old man. You see, son, just 'cause we fighting them don't mean they're bad people. I guess a whole lot of us don't even know why we fighting at all. I ain't no hot
I mean, I could very much see that too. In you know, a Civil War situation. I'm sure it happened during the American Civil War where, you know, people probably didn't necessarily really know or were committed to any real reason as to why they're fighting. It was an opportunity to make money and try to have a better life one way or the other. You know, a lot of people for both North and the South probably didn't really have a huge stake in the fight and we're just trying to make money, you know, honestly, because war back then, that was a good way to make how it had been for a long time. If you fought in wars, if you were a soldier, oftentimes that was a solid way of making money and making sure that you had, you know, 3 squares a day kind of a situation. So
shot college scholar or a Washington politician, but Joe Paul has seen war. When you was a little boy and we volunteered in Russia, I had a good, close look at what really happens when these syndicalists try and take the wheel.
And I mean, like it was said in one of the earlier videos too, you know, it's interesting how a lot, because of the Great Depression and because of little opportunities there were, and at the time, you know, America wasn't involved in any of the wars. A lot of people had opportunities or saw opportunities to go and volunteer in other wars and affairs around the world. And as he said here, volunteering to fight in Russia was a way for him to make money and, you know, potentially provide for his family. And, you know, now he's come home to an America that's fighting itself.
In their twisted vision of doing right, they destroy all we hold dear. The so-called white democratic forces opposing them are quick to become an empty shell for ambitious generals. Kolchak, the supreme leader. MacArthur, the American Caesar. I seen it in Petrograd and I seen it here at home. Chicago and Washington have gone bad, and it is up to us to put them down. We place our trust in Senator Long and the American Union Party. The feds are shills for the Wall Street money men. The syndicalists are radicals, rabid dogs frothing at the mouth, ready to tear this nation apart.
Well, and also, like, depending, I guess, on the information that would have been brought back to them too, like the syndicalist movement that happened in France, I guess, for lack of a better word or term that I can think of, was a bit more pure. I guess if you get what I'm saying, it really was kind of like a revolution of overthrowing the elites and the aristocrats that really didn't care much of anything but themselves. But even though that did kind of happen in Britain too, from what I understand from the lore, they went much more kind of fascists and started like really hunting people down that disagreed with them and writing them up, and people disappearing and families disappearing and et cetera, et cetera. They kind of really went much more to the extreme. So people back here in the States, you know, if that were to come back here, you could easily see that as them wanting to say that no, these syndicalist people they're just radicals, and they're just a different side to the same situation.
Huey Long is the only man willing to defend our citizens' rights. The American Union state is not the best option. It is our only option. And we will fight until we are the last ones left. God willing, we will fight to give this country a future. I love America, son, but I love you more. And I will fight for an America where you are a citizen under the Constitution, not a serf to Wall Street. We march north as traitors, but we will come home as kings.
Every man a king. Every man a king. That was Long saying. So it looks like a lot of these videos here now are kind of almost like propaganda videos for each faction. We have the syndicates. We have the American Union State, which is the South. Now, episode 4 is going to be the Pacific State, and then New England, which I believe is what turned into what originally the federal government of the United States turned into, and they kind of tried to combine their forces with Canada, I think. But yeah, that was episode 3, American Union States. So I guess we're going to move on here to part 4, the Pacific States.
A long time ago, America was a nation of vast opportunity and promise. And she still is.
It's interesting how all of them kind of start off this way. back in the day, America was a land of opportunity and promise, but then such and such did such and such, and now we got to stand up and fight for what we believe in.
Because America is still alive. Behind the Rockies, the free cities of America endure. From the blooming deserts of Utah to the cold Pacific Northwest, the men that built the West opposed the tyrants from the East. And the dream that is America lives on. I was a writer before all of this, a political commentator for a respected paper in the DC area. It feels like a distant memory now, as I sit on this freezing mountain watching the Midwestern plains at the horizon. It's funny, isn't it? This imaginary line in the snow is all that separates civility from death and chaos. It's quiet now, but history will call on us soon. MacArthur's strongmen in the West claim to be loyalists, but any man with a beating heart and a vague notion of what's in the Constitution knows they are nothing more than dancing puppets. They drape themselves in old glory as they grasp for a shred of legitimacy. It's a disgrace. Our founding fathers would turn in their graves to see their children throw away.
There we go again. Founding fathers, like I said, each side's gonna use some kind of story about our founding fathers and what they fought for, etc.
The very freedom a republic was founded on. In the name of what? Security? In their pretense of protecting the republic, they have dissolved it. Long, Reed, MacArthur. The names change, but their loyalties stay the same. Behind this line will not be fooled by their thin veneer of political ideology and petty justifications. They are warlords, plain and simple. I know this because I have seen it firsthand. When the self-declared Caesar seized Congress, we were the first he set his dogs on. Those that could fled west with the remainder of democratic government. Those that didn't were locked up, silenced, or worse. I ask this of you. Does it matter to a citizen whether the bullet in his head came from the rifle of a syndicalist militia?
Yeah, I mean, what he's saying isn't wrong. Like, I can't remember the president's name at the time. I don't think it was Reed. I think Reed is the guy that was the leader of the syndicalist movement, and Long obviously was the leader of the South. MacArthur was the general that ended up, overthrowing the president at the time and had his little coup. But I mean, yeah, they threw the legitimate president who had been elected and was in negotiations with both Long and Reed to, come to some kind of peaceful solution. Yeah, and the Congress and MacArthur weren't happy about it, so they thought that he was going to give up too much, and yeah, they had a military coup and overthrow him. So I mean, he's not wrong from from what he's saying. About people being thrown in jail, for their beliefs, etc. It's what happened. So it's interesting. Hard to kind of argue from his perspective.
Pistol in the hand of a Union State silver shirt? One of the Caesar's triggermen? No sane man would shoot his brother and claim it to be righteous under any creed. Yet east of these mountains, rationality seems to have been lost to the derangement of ideology. I look back at my brothers here. We were the ones that made it out in time, fleeing over the Great Plains and beyond the vast Rocky Mountains, scraping together what we could from our old lives, hoping this would all blow over. When Chicago and New Orleans erupted in open revolution, we knew that there would be no going back. So I enlisted in the Mountain Division, so I could at least help guard the scraps we have left. The refugees passing through our checkpoint tell a hard...
Yeah, and I think for the Pacific states, like, life would probably be a little bit more difficult for them, right? Because, like, one of the major issues with stuff over there is like once you get to the Rockies, the weather conditions just aren't very good for like growing crops. And so like really they would have to rely a lot on California for the land that California has for any kind of produce and farming, etc. And a lot of people living in other states are going to have to really rely on hunting, etc. So that's also going to be a big factor, I would think, for the Pacific states.
Heart-wrenching story.
Trying to rely on that and form, I guess, trade agreements with other countries so they can get, food supplies in to alleviate those issues. But anyway.
The refugees passing through our checkpoint tell a heart-wrenching story. You can see it on every face and with every sorrowful cart heading west. We are witness to an Oregon trail of hunger and despair. Front row seats to the death of America. When Chicago burned, we did nothing. When New Orleans marched north under the flag of a tyrant, we did nothing. They called us afraid, but we are not afraid. We are patient. And as their numbers dwindle and their bullets are spent,
let them fight each other.
Stand guard.
Let them expand
as the
their
East
resources.
grows weaker, those sick and tired of the madness flee west and join our ranks. Through us, America endures. Through us, America survives. They call us the Pacific States. We call ourselves the United States of America. Like Cincinnatus, we will rise up when history calls on us and gladly throw down our weapons and return to the fields after war. Like Cincinnatus, we do not desire power. We desire life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That phrase has not lost meaning on this side of the continent. Free men of America. Free men of the true America. We stand guard in the West, and let this be known. When the wolves of the East are done tearing each other's throats out, we will march out and once again stretch the true American Republic from sea to shining sea.
I'm convinced. So far out of all of, oops, hit the wrong button. So far out of all these propaganda videos, lines, or whatever you want to call them, the Pacific States got me. I would probably move out there and fight for them because they sound like, from everything that they sound like what the United States is supposed to be, essentially. They're trying to hold on to democracy and what the United States actually stands for, and they see the what you could call a tyrant in Howie Long, and the radical syndicalism, and of course the MacArthur, as they call him, the Caesar, and his military coup. And like the question would be is, if any one of them were to like truly gain power, would any of them really relinquish it? If Long were to win and overturn those factions, would he, go back to democracy, create, set up the presidency like we have it, go back to democracy, and after his term's up, relinquish his power and let other people come in? I feel like not. And honestly, I mean, Reed maybe, but it would be, I don't think we would have a presidency. We would have something different. And MacArthur claimed to, I believe, in his and some stuff that we went through with him, but who knows? Who knows if he really would? So Pacific would have me at the moment. So yeah, that was episode 4, Pacific States. So we're gonna move on to the last part here, part 5, New England.
A long time ago, America was a nation of vast opportunity and promise.
Long time ago.
She was a beautiful ship, yeah. But that don't mean we should be going down with her either.
True.
When the British marched south to protect their bordering provinces, We welcome them with open arms.
With
We're
open
nothing if not
arms.
practical. And I'd much prefer Canada's protection to MacArthur.
It was wicked dark out, and the British came in. We opened them, welcomed them with open arms. It was beautiful.
And syndicalists tearing through our fine green states. We settled in for the long haul and fortified our borders. This American Civil
Don't
War was
tread
their
on me.
war, not ours.
It's interesting that their badge is a snake here. I don't know. That just strikes me as interesting because when you think of a snake, you don't think of like it's something honorable, You think of more like sneaky, devious kind of things. Anyway.
Every night we get treated to the thunder of artillery and the flashing lights of dogfights over the Great Lakes. A stark reminder of what could have been would we have rushed
Stark
headfirst
reminder.
into this pointless war. Syndicalists, Unionists, MacArthurites, Federalists. Seems every other
MacArthurites always had just such a strange, feels like cultist almost. MacArthurites,
Joe from the block now has a reason to shoot his brother and call it revolution. I would appreciate the irony more if it wasn't so damn tragic. Like my dad and brothers, I was a simple fisherman from the Cape when all this went down. Young and inspired, they were the first to run south and join the Union State, chanting every man a king every step of the way. Every step of the way into their graves, that is. Poor sods didn't even make it to their first fight alive. If it makes you feel any better, I'm told Norfolk saw looting for weeks after she fell. I hope MacArthur and Long sleep easy at night while American cities burn. You'll excuse us for being in no spirits to march into certain demise. I do not share the passion for self-destruction that a lot of our former countrymen seem to swear by these days. So here I was, still fishing in the Cape when they pulled my number from the draft. It's been peering down binoculars at South Mountain ever since. Seems even if you aren't looking for war, war surely will come looking for you. Perhaps one day, when the madness is over, we will return to the Great Union. Perhaps New England will blaze its own path in North America. Only time will tell. All that I know is that we are free men under the rule of law, not bound by the ambitions of states we have nothing in common with. The serpent lies dormant, but the other states would do well to stay south of the line. We have no desire to fight any of the rabid dogs down there, but rest assured that we will fiercely defend our home states if the need arises. Don't mess with New England, and New England won't mess with you. I'm reminded of a creed we haven't used since the days of the Independence War, when we made the British pay for every mile of American land they tried to take. Don't tread on me. In this new world, New England will forge its own path. Live free or die.
Live free or die.
Live free or die.
All right, there we go. That was World of Kaiserreich lore series by Kaiser Cat Cinema. That one, these were the first 5 episodes in his series. That these ones all covered the Second American Civil War. It looks like this series is probably going to be kind of more about, yes, the various points of view from the different factions. It's interesting, of course, how each different faction in the American Civil War, obviously, they reference what our founding fathers, stood for, and they'd be rolling in their grave if they saw these things. And we're fighting for freedom and democracy and the American way of life kind of thing. And again, the question that would bring up is, like, if any of these factions were to truly win, who would actually, try to return the United States to what it was before? The Pacific states sound kind of like it. The rest of them, not so sure. But, it'll be interesting to see, I guess, moving forward with the different countries and factions, how these are going to play out and what they're going to go through. Because the next one in this list is Germany. And then after that is one with Hawaii, the story of Smiling Jack Malone, which is interesting. I haven't heard anything about that with the story of Hawaii, so I'm looking forward to that and some of these other ones. So, but yeah, I look forward to continuing to go through this series and looking through these short videos, going over, I guess, say some of it could be propaganda, others could just be, you know, various stories and points of view from the different factions, and kind of going over what the factions believe in and what they're fighting for in the war, etc, etc. So yeah, that was Kaiser Cat Cinema's World of Kaiserreich series. Is the first 5 episodes in this. I will have a link to his channel and to this playlist down below in the description, so please do me a favor, if you enjoyed these videos as we've gone through them, be sure to go through and give them a like, and be sure to hit that sub button on his channel if you enjoy this Kaiserreich lore stuff. If you'd like to join us when I do these reactions live with my YouTube members, there is a join button underneath the video, as well as a link in the description, the YouTube membership benefits and tiers that I offer. So if you've been around the channel for a while, take a look at those, see if any of that would have any interest for you. But yeah, like I said at the beginning of this video, if any of you guys out there have any other channels from content creators that do any kind of Kaiserreich lore videos, or if you have any specific videos in the Kaiserreich, you know, world that you would like me to check out and react to, feel free to link them in the comments, or just let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to take a look at them, because I'm very fascinated in alternate history stuff and this Kaiserreich, you know, alternate World War I history kind of being based in certain real events that have happened, and just seeing how they've diverged off and how it's played out, how it's changed things in the world. This is very fascinating to me. Very fascinating, very interesting. So I'm definitely down to continue with more and to learn more about this world and lore behind it. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to give it a like and a sub. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you're all having yourselves a wonderful day. See you in the next one.